press conference?
I was the least surprised I've ever been about anything. I was actually shocked that everybody was so surprised. I'm like, where are you people from? Where did you grow up? Like, what are you talking about? I was in Saudi personally, but I'm sure it made the internet when Ben shoved Eubank in the lobby on fight week while Eubank was cutting weight. Definitely couldn't retaliate. Would have put his own fight in jeopardy. We're in Saudi, really can't. You like have a dust up there, no matter what. Big John Fury thinks you're meant to keep your powder dry in Saudi. You certainly can't be fighting in the lobby a few days before your own fight. And does anybody in the world think that Chris Eubank Jr. is not a petty, spiteful, vindictive person who's going to let that slide? I was wondering what was taking so long. And then when they're face to face and he's starting to like lean in and try to, oh, what you say? I can't hear you. That's the oldest trick in the book. Like, what are we doing? You don't duck your head in on an op. Are you out of your mind? I was just like, this is the only thing that's going to happen. You're either going to get glass punched or shot. There's no reason why anybody in that building and anybody online watching that thing unfold should have been surprised at all. Now, the egg, I mean, come on. Well done, sir. Well done. Nice, nice with the antics. That was the unexpected part, and that was the humor that made it very funny and not, lethal. You're not going to break a guy's jaw with an egg. You're not going to, Eddie Hearn's like, oh, it could have gotten into his eye. Like, just shut the fuck up. That's madness. There's nothing that's just funny, and it's a wild thing to do, but it's also something's gonna happen. Like, you have to know they're that close with Eubank needing a get back that he's gonna get back. And I just couldn't. I don't want to go on about this because it animated me on the day as well. When I seen him be like, "What's that? What'd you say? I can't hear you. Like, could you come a little closer?" I almost lost my shit right there. I almost ruined it from just screaming out loud, like, don't do it. Like, no, I was not surprised. However, I was very surprised by all of these roadmen and guys from the ends not being fully anticipating something coming across Ben's face, leaning that close in on an op who needed a get back. So, kudos to you guys for being so parliamentary, because I expected that exact procedure.
Fair enough. Rahim, really appreciate you joining us. We hope we can make this a more regular thing going forward.
Anytime.
Although, just don't tell Eddie Hearn to, what was it? Fuck off every week,
Don't tell him what?
Don't tell him to fuck off every week,
Oh, why do you think he'll be ill?
Yeah, he might be illing, exactly. Yeah, we're worried about that.
Which, by the way, since Eddie and I have a good ribbing, if you will, I would like everyone watching it in the chat to do me one simple favor. ILLING. Just Google that definition, because apparently I know the Queen's English better than even Sir Eddie Hearn and most of the people in the comment section. Illing. I used it in a sentence referencing the onset of illness by Daniel Dubois. Now, you guys do your own research, as it were, and tell me if not only did I not use a real word, but in the most appropriate context. That really is my crowning achievement of 2025, and I await and eagerly await reading your comments and your compliments.
Yeah, I mean, it's only March, so you've still got another 8 months to go where you could, 10 months to go. My maths isn't great, is it? Where you could top that achievement. Great stuff. Rahim, really appreciate it. We'll let you get back to your busy schedule. But yeah, hopefully we can get you back on in the weeks to come.
Cheers. Take
care, mate. That was Radio Rahim, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you enjoyed that insight into the Tank Davis fight. You have to make do with just me and Eamon for the rest of the show. We'll see if there's a big drop-off in the audience now. But yeah, another big controversy took place over the weekend on this side of the Atlantic, and that was in Belfast between Lewis Crocker, who came out victorious, quite against the run of play, I think it has to be said, against Paddy Donovan at the weekend, and now finds himself as the number 1 contender for the IBF welterweight title. Just for anyone who hasn't seen what happened in the fight, Donovan had already lost 2 points from referee, I believe it was Marcus McDonnell, for use of the head. And we'll talk about that in a minute. When he landed a shot, not just landed a shot, but threw the shot and landed it to Crocker's head when he was backed up against the ropes. Knocked him down after the bell to end the round, so threw the punch after the bell, quite clearly after the bell, in my view, and was then summarily disqualified by Marcus McDonnell. Crocker is now the IBF, as I say, number one contender. His trainer, Billy Nelson, I believe in an interview with The Ring, ruled out an immediate rematch and says they're going to go forward to fight for the world title. Eamon, you were obviously in Bournemouth covering that show on Saturday night, but when you got back, either found out what happened in the Crocker fight or watched it, what was your reaction?
Yeah, no. So we caught this, I think, round maybe 6 or 7 in. Basically, we'd missed. When I say we, it was me and another colleague from another outlet. We were patiently waiting for a couple of fighters to finish up so we could speak to them. I think Carol Atome, Shane McGuigan had just finished up, so we were waiting and we just flicked on. And I think by that point, the first point had been deducted, so we missed that. The second point then got deducted. Then Paddy come back with a brilliant response, and then he'd gone in for the finish, and he hit the right hook. It landed on Crocker, and Crocker went down. And I remember hearing the bell. I remember thinking, has Crocker maybe made a bit of this to try and get another point or some serious kind of reprimand for Donovan in the fight? And we were kind of talking about that, and we were talking just shock at the unfolding very quickly of Paddy Donovan being disqualified. We were thinking maybe that wasn't the right call from Marcus McDonnell. And then I saw the replay of the shot that Crocker took, and it was, as we'd established, after the bell, and it was a big shot. It was a big shot. Now, I can't say as to whether it was enough for Crocker to have gone down and felt the effects that he felt it was. Only Crocker will truly know that. But for me, it looked like a punch that would have serious effect and would knock down a fighter. And given that it was after the bell, like I mentioned, and clearly after the bell, like has been mentioned here, and in the context of the 2 previous deductions for other offences, the choice to disqualify Paddy Donovan, I think, is a step that Marcus McDonnell could have made. And look, I feel like I'm not a referee in that point, in that stage. Maybe the course of action was to make the decision to give Crocker a bit more time to recover after that shot. But then also you got to consider, like, what if it was a big shot and then Crocker takes another one afterwards, and what's the ramifications of that? The point being really here was for Paddy Donovan, who I think, for all intents and purposes, he looks like, and you get loads of prospects coming through, and you never really truly know when they make it or in these type of fights, and he's been called the real deal, and he looked like the real deal. He looked levels above, or at least a level above Lewis Crocker. But it's a bit of composure that you're missing, and when you want to get to world title level, you've got to have that, because on those nights you got to ignore the crowd, you got to ignore the moment. You've got to sometimes learn to hold back, and he's held back for quite a bit in his career and showing his talent and the true array of it. He showed it tonight. Last night, not last night, at the weekend. But that bit of composure was missing, and that bit of composure, huge ramifications for it, because it lost in points and it lost in fight disqualification. Sure, Lewis Crocker won't have wanted to win by that means, and he wasn't winning by any means, because he was getting beaten by Paddy Donovan pretty resoundingly. But they found a way to get the victory, not by means of their own. It was by consequence of what Paddy Donovan did. It's with respect to Billy Nelson and Lewis Crocker, it's a hollow victory. It's a victory, but it's a hollow victory. I would like to see both men fight again in a rematch. I can't begrudge either, just being fair to the situation. Is if Lewis Crocker decided, nah, I don't want that, I'll go for the world title, and maybe I'll fight Paddy Donovan down the line, as long as he's true to delivering that rematch from his point of view. It's interesting, Eddie Hearn saying that he felt that actually the rematch with Paddy Donovan would be a lot more money for him than Boots fight if they were to deliver that. If Boots was to win against Stanionis, that was quite interesting. That might maybe sway Lewis Crocker. He might feel like a loss at world title level. If he was to lose, he could come down and that rematch would always still be there. So you still think he'd probably still take the shot at the world title. But yeah, I still feel that the referee, you gave the referee a decision to make, and that decision to disqualify Paddy Donovan is a fair enough decision given the context of what happened in the rounds previous.